Hey, what is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Probably colder than most places that are watching this, but I hear it's pretty cold down south also. Here, hosting by myself this month on the monthly Man You Want to Be Hangout for January 2014. Marie Roker-Jones, my wonderful host and co-host and producer, could not make it tonight, so I'm, as we used to say in the Star Wars days, Han Solo tonight. But we're all good. We got two outstanding guests here tonight, and the focus of our discussion this month is staying healthy at any age, men's physical and sexual health at all times. Since it's January, we want to get off good, and a good start, that is. So we have two guests. First up, we have celebrity fitness trainer Raymond Grayson, otherwise known as Mr. Shut Up and Train, president and CEO of AIM, and Andrew Smiler, PhD, therapist, evaluator, author, speaker, and contributor to the Good Men Project, which I am also a contributor to. The Good Men. Hey, how are you gentlemen tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Outstanding. And Andrew, thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. I'm glad that we've gotten up to 40 degrees Fahrenheit here in North Carolina. Those single digits were a little strange for us.
Well, we're in the minus double digits, so we're a little bit of switch. Ray, where are you located?
I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, so make us jealous and tell us how warm it is down there.
We're getting the same temps that Andrew's getting. It's about 35, 40 degrees.
Okay, excellent. Well, look. And apologies for us starting late. We had a little bit of technical challenges, but we're off and we're good, and it's going to be an outstanding show. So, gentlemen, my first conversation piece with you is staying healthy at any age, men's physical and sexual health. What was the first thing that came to mind when you saw this topic and Marie invited you to it? So I'm going to start with Ray first.
First thing came to mind was, I don't know if I'm an expert on Viagra and other men's performance enhancement drugs, but I do believe that there's a true there's a component that I definitely can speak on with as an active male throughout your life. Then just everything's working better. You know, all pumps are primed and your blood is flowing, and an active lifestyle was an active healthy lifestyle.
Good start off. And Andrew, how about yourself?
I was very excited to be part of this conversation because certainly here in the U.S., I'm not quite sure how it is in Canada, we do a pretty bad job of teaching boys and young men how to take care of themselves. And so this seems like a really important topic and a really good idea. Here we are in January for, you know, helping folks with all those New Year's resolutions.
Excellent, good stuff. Very true. Ray, when you what range of clients do you deal with? Like, what's the average or usual demographic, especially male clients that you deal with?
Male clients range from, my youngest right now is 11 years old up to about 67. So, wow. I mean, there's a big range, and we're dealing with everything from puberty to guys on their second, third, you know, wives that to midlife crisis. I'm seeing it all. Day to day.
Excellent. And yourself, Andrew, do you deal with a target market of males yourself?
My therapeutic work is mostly with teens and young adults, and a lot of times we do that as family therapy. But there's often pieces in there, certainly about taking care of themselves mentally, psychologically. But we often hit some physical issues as well.
Excellent. Ray, what are some of the challenges that you see physical and maybe even physical-wise in regards to young men from the 11 to the 30 age group? Because I would think, and maybe many people would think, that those are when men are their most active and should be in their best shape. Is that necessarily true?
For the most part, yes. But I think just a lack of education, and definitely a lack of education on healthy food options. But TV does it. If you just sit back and watch the commercials, the majority of the healthy food you don't see on the commercials. And what are we doing as we watch our shows? They're letting us know what they're steering our decisions. So I think we just need to make sure that the kids are getting the proper education. And things have happened over the last 3 to 5 years, pulling a lot of the sodas and unhealthy snacks out of the schools so we can teach the kids young. But what I found is even some parents, you know, we're a microwave community, so we want everything fast and on the go, and we're not really taking time to really cook, clean, and prepare our food like we used to. So, I mean, lack of education on healthy food choices is probably the number one thing that I see with kids, and I'll just say between the 15 to 25 range, when teenagers are able to make their own food decisions, and then when they go off to college, and then when they graduate college, sometimes it's the budget, so they think on a budget, there's no way I can really live healthy.
Great answer. Very true. Andrew, what are you seeing in what you specialize in with that target group? What are some of the challenges that they're dealing with?
One of the big challenges is that we really don't talk to them a whole lot about their bodies and give them any kind of big picture framework for dealing with it. Like, you know, we all know we should eat healthy, and I'm trying to slam the carrots and celery now that it's January 1 and all that.
Oh, we are.
Yeah. But, you know, and I, despite all of my education, degree in developmental psychology, like, I don't have a framework for nutrition. You know, I've picked up stuff over the years about how to take care of my body physically. Like, I know I should exercise, but I don't know a whole lot about how my body works. On the sexual side, because that's my research and that's a lot of my therapy practice, I know a lot more about that because, you know, that's the in and out day to day. But I had to go to grad school to get that, you know, and this is knowledge that we should all be getting along the way.
True. It's interesting because in both of the responses that you gave, correct me if I'm wrong, education on lack of education seems to be a point that both of you have made.
That's it.
Yep.
Who do you feel should be helping with that education piece?
Andrew?
Thanks, right? You know, I'll go with everyone on this. I mean, some of this should be coming from the education system. You know, here in the States, kids get maybe 1/4 of the year, 1 semester of the year, they have health class, but that doesn't really seem to have much of an impact.
Right.
You know, as Ray mentioned, we're fighting against all these commercials and all these advertisements for foods that we really don't need. You know, and we get the generic kind of eat well, take care of your body, but not a lot of detail beyond those generics. So teachers, parents, you know, the media.
Yep.
Ray, what's your piece in adding to what Andrew just shared with us in the audience?
Kind of piggyback what Andrew said. Basically, I think it has to be a group effort. I do believe they should spend more time in the schools talking about healthy eating, but parents at home, we got to lead by example, and the parents got to, one, buy the healthy food and then cook it, and then kids get used to eating healthy meals throughout the day as opposed to, you know, binge eating or crashing or whatever they may be doing. Just and a lot of unhealthy snacking that people do just throughout the day as opposed to making sure you get good, nutritious whole foods.
Yeah, I know I didn't learn to cook until I was in my 20s. I actually ended up a complete fluke. I got a job in not exactly a fast food restaurant, although not far from it.
Hold on a second. What's the difference? I'd like to know. It's either fast food or...
We had like 10 items. Nothing was deep fried. It was all right there on the grill. You came up to the counter, you ordered, you saw it being cooked. But, you know, if it took more than 3 minutes to get from the grill to your plate, I was doing something wrong.
Okay.
So, you
no
know,
problem.
Not quite the conveyor belt that's in the back of the McDonald's or the Burger King there, but pretty close to it. But that was my first time cooking anything that, you know, didn't use a microwave or toaster oven.
Okay.
You know, we decided that when our daughter hits about 8 or 9 and she's comfortable start being in the kitchen, you know, 1 meal a week she's going to be responsible for, and she's going to tell us what it is, and we'll do the grocery shopping with that in mind, and we will help her cook so that she grows up knowing how to cook.
Good stuff. Yeah. Great conversation going on here. And again, if you want to join in, use the hashtag men you want to be, and you send us your questions. You can hit me at drvibeshow. Both of you gentlemen are dealing with a very challenging age group of young men, 11 to 25, 11 to 30. In the areas that you specialize in to help young boys or young men of this group, when you approach the parents, what reactions are you getting from the parents of these young men when you tell them, oh, your son is affected by this, and this is the solution, or this is what I suggest, this is what I suggest to overcome it? What are the parents? What reactions are you getting from the parents?
Oftentimes, I shouldn't say oftentimes, sometimes parents are in denial because they may be the root of the problem. They've almost taught the children how to eat, and they've taught the children that less activity is okay. And so, as you're really correcting the problem, I try to sit the kid and the parent down at the same time, and pretty much coach them both up that this is the game plan, this is what we need to do, and we all need to be on the same page. Then I have other parents that are 100% supportive, where the child just may not listen to the parent. So therefore, they want to bring somebody else in just to help out and kind of garner up a solution that everybody can move forward with.
Andrew?
I'm in somewhat of a similar place with Ray there. Mostly I do family therapy, so before they ever show up in my office, the parents have acknowledged that there's some work they need to do here, or some things that they got to do different in order to help their son or their daughter, as the case may be. So it's usually much more of a team approach. That said, there's a lot of educating the parents as well as the kids, because they haven't gotten this information either. They're not nutritionists, they're not physical therapists or trainers or experts in sexuality. So there's really hitting that knowledge gap, and sometimes doing it in a way that I'm trying to not make the parents look bad in front of the kids, because they're really, they don't want to, both. Trying to not embarrass them in front of their kids. There's already enough going on there.
So I find what both of you do very interesting, and I like to scale back, go back and say, what got you into the areas that you are doing right now? What was the moment, or what was the desire for you to help young men? I know you both, Andrew helps specifically a target group, and Ray, you have a wider group, but also you focus on young men too.
Right.
What got you interested in helping young men be better in these areas?
I think for me, growing up, I just knew I had positive role models in my life, being my father and coaches and just other individuals really in my life showing me the things that I need to do. And I see now there's a lack of that. So as you mentioned earlier, I've dealt with plenty of celebrities, but I really want to be able to give back, and it just really help the people and really make my mark on in my field. So I take a lot of pride in being able to going out to the different schools, talking about health and fitness, helping promote healthy activities, running boot camps, and just want to be that figure that the kids may listen to, that voice that may strike something to say we can do better. Now that we have the tools, we will do better.
And I kind of backed into it, actually. As a college student, I decided that I wanted to become a therapist because I was one of those people that my friends could talk to and all that. And I started off working in these clinics in suburban Philadelphia, and even before that, when I was in my master's program in Baltimore. And one of the things that struck me was that I was one of the few males, in particular straight males, who was doing this kind of work. And because I liked working with teenagers, probably 70% of the kids and families I've ever worked with are boys. And there would inevitably be some point in the conversation where either the kid or one of his parents would say, well, guys don't do that. And it's just this blanket statement. It could be about anything. Guys just don't do that. It's like, well, why not? There's nothing wrong with being nice to people, or, there are times to back down from a fight or whatever it was. And at some point it dawned on me that, we'd been doing all this work to help girls overcome these stereotypes about femininity, but we weren't really doing anything to help boys and men overcome these stereotypes about masculinity. And in a lot of ways, it really is literally killing us. I mean, guys on average in the U.S. die 7 years younger than girls, than women. And a lot of that is just because we don't take care of ourselves.
Right.
And so that's how I came into this. Completely backwards.
Absolutely. With both of you, you have a lot of interaction with young men of this age. What are they telling you of what's going on in their lives? Do they ever open up and get deeper, or more than just what's going on physically, sexually with myself? Do they open up, and if they do, what are they telling you?
I deal more with the physical than the sexual, um, but definitely we've been able to uncover some layers and just really deeper rooted problems that may be driving a kid to eat. And again, you find stress. It could be a tough situation at home for the kid, and they're turning to food just as an outlet, or they're just rebelling against their parents because there may be some other issues there. Uh, I found families where you may have two or three athletic kids, and that one kid that just doesn't get the praise because they may not be as athletic, they turn to food. But whatever they can do to really get that attention. And I just helped a 17-year-old before she graduated. I think we dropped about 60 pounds over the course of a year. So as she went on to college, it was a new beginning for her.
Wow.
She was now comfortable with her body. This is a female now, but comfortable with her body and just comfortable with herself. And she hated high school. But I don't think she hated high school. I think she hated who she was in high school or how people looked at her. But now going into life, she's had a new outlook on life. And being able to do that, I mean, that's what it's all about. Just, again, helping people reach whatever their goals may be.
Ray, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that success story. Andrew, you deal more, I guess, deeper in the emotional end. What are young men sharing with you?
The big ones that we hit are really challenges about connecting to other people. You know, we teach teenage boys that they need to be tough, that if they show emotion, they're weak. When a guy has a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you know, there's all of this stuff around. You don't want to be whipped. You got to wear the pants in the relationship, and a lot of challenges around how to connect to someone and be genuine, and then kind of manage that around other people. And some of the time, you know, some of what I'm talking to guys about is really, you know, how they're doing their romantic relationships, and you know, a lot of that is around sex as well, or includes sex as well. Sometimes it's about how they connect to their parents, or the fact that they really only have one good friend, and maybe that friend just violated their trust somehow. So now they're 16 and they don't have any friends. They don't have anyone they can trust. And then when something else goes bad, you know, their parents are fighting, or a parent loses a job, and we get all the economic stuff going down. They don't have anyone to talk to, and so they're left to cope all by themselves. And that often, you know, if they're in my office, then that has not gone well.
Good stuff. Ray, how much, and actually, believe it or not, Marie's husband has a question for you. And let me just get to it here, because he's shared with us. I'm just getting it up here now. Marie's husband, Ray, wants to know what Ray thinks is more effective, full body workout or split routine?
Depends what your goals are. If you're looking to add lean muscle mass to the body, basically get a little bigger, or you want to see there's certain parts of your body that you really want to see develop, then I think split routines. But if it's general fitness or just weight loss, total body workouts, great way to go.
Good stuff. Andrew, I want to ask, with the young men that open up to you, what do they say about their fathers, or if they have father figures? What do they talk about to you when it comes to father figures in their life?
You know, that's a great question, and it's really split. I mean, some of the boys and girls that I've worked with, you know, they're really close to their dad. Their dad is the primary parent. Their dad is the one that they go to when they have a problem. In other cases, you know, at other times, other kids that I work with, unfortunately, dad has perhaps been abusive, or dad is an addict. In those cases, dad is often out of the picture. So it really runs the gamut. A lot of the dads really come across as, you know, kind of average guys. They go to work every day, you know, they earn their paycheck, they come home. There's some help around the house. They're usually not doing as much as mom around the house, because for the most part, we don't train guys to do that. We just train them to fix stuff. You know, I can make a bed. It's not that challenging, but somehow I have acquired this skill, and it's kind of magical.
Right.
So, you know, it really runs the gamut. I see kind of the whole range there.
Okay. Ray, in regards to the younger men that you deal with, what influence, good, bad, or ugly, do fathers or father figures have when it comes to physical fitness, and even maybe for a wider spectrum, the whole athletic culture that's out there, what influence does it have on our young men, good, bad, or ugly, when it comes to physical health? Sorry.
Physical health. I hope none of them are watching. I think some of the father figures are a little demanding on a kid, really, and they can't gauge when a kid is giving effort or dogging it, as opposed to he just may not be in it that day. And that's okay because he's a kid. I mean, he could be 13, 14 years old, and I've seen some dads just really trying to drill these kids to get more and more out of them. And when the reality is they're probably just pushing them away. I mean, and that's why I say drop them off, bring them to me, and leave. Let me work with them, because I some days are going to be better than others, but whether I'm working with my pro athletes or my celebrities that may have a lot of money on the line, some days are better than others. And that's not for an outside person to really judge. It's a process. And what I don't want to do is push. I want to push them close to the edge, but I don't want to push them over, because once I push them over, it's hard to get them back. So I've found that some fathers can be very overbearing, while then I'll see some fathers that really show me how I want to interact with my boys. I have 2 boys and 1 on the way. They're very supportive.
Congratulations, by the
Thank
way.
you. Thank you. And you see the bags under my eyes, don't you? My little one, he's running me ragged.
Well, like, where do you get time, man? Like, well, I won't ask. That's an offline conversation.
I'm sure Brittany told you I was up at 3:30 this morning, and I literally I walked in the house at 8:40 so we can get this program set up.
No problem.
We make time. I think we make time for what we find important. And even Andrew, what he just said about the cooking, I just try to pull great ideas from different men that I feel like are doing a good job with their kids, because nobody really gave me the book, but I think we can just take bits and pieces from everybody, and and do the best job we can.
And that's actually one of the big things that we end up talking about in therapy when I'm working with families. In general, women tend to have this network of other women who are mothers, right? They become friends with their kids' friends, and even before that, like when they're pregnant or when they're getting ready to adopt, they reach out and they form those connections. Whereas we as guys, on average, don't do that. So when we're struggling with something with our kids or we need advice, on average, we don't have anyone to turn to, and we don't have those conversations kind of day to day or week to week as we see our friends and we're hanging out. And I think we end up really deprived of a lot of good support and a lot of good information that way.
Right.
So true. In each of the areas that you both work in or do your practice in regards to young men, what is the biggest stereotype that you hear about young men?
Well, for me,
I want to put some thought to this one.
Okay, let Andrew.
Just give me a second. I'm not.
I'll stall for you, right?
Okay, let Andrew go first.
The big one for me, and again, I work a lot around issues of sexuality.
Sure.
Is that guys just want to screw around? That they're just interested in having sex. They're not interested in relationships, and that actually couldn't be farther from the truth for the vast majority of guys. And that. I got sufficiently tired of hearing it that I finally sat down and wrote a book, and that's what my book, Challenging Casanova, is all about. It really takes apart that stereotype, presents the numbers so that you can see just how untrue that is, and presents strategies for how we can deal with that, both with the kids in our lives, the boys in our lives, and the girls in our lives, because they need to know that too, and also how we can deal with that at the cultural level and start changing that stereotype.
Great. Ray, I've given you some time. Andrew's given you some time.
All right.
Ray, I can do more if you need.
No, I'm fine. Let's do it. I guess I'll just make this specifically for my young athletes. The biggest stereotype would probably be that they don't deal, like Andrew said, with the emotional issues. That because they're these all-stars, these super athletes on the field, that they don't have underlying issues and they need their parents just to be parents sometimes. And sometimes I don't need you to be my coach. I don't need you to be my trainer. Just be my parent and work with me on whatever it is I may be dealing with. It could be, dealing with relationships with the opposite sex. It could be dealing with, not feeling like I'm a superstar in the classroom. I think a lot of these kids would apply themselves if they were forced to apply themselves, but sometimes they're given the red carpet so early in life, and they're given so much assistance, and nobody really ever demands the excellence in the classroom like they do on the playing field, which I think ultimately just sets the kids up for failure when they get to the next level.
Excellent.
And if
Well,
I
go
can
ahead.
add
Go ahead,
one,
Andrew. Go ahead.
you know, one of the things, and I talk about this a little bit in the book, you know, and I mentioned earlier, boys talk about losing relationships, and we don't really teach boys about relationships. Boys have lots of relationships, and Ray just mentioned, you know, a couple different types. We got coach, and we got teacher, and we got family, and we also have teammates and friends. You know, all of these relationships rely on a couple of the same skills as far as good communication, both listening and talking, honesty, respect for the other person, respect for yourselves. And, you know, again, there are differences there when you're hanging out with your friends versus maybe your teammates, certainly teammates and coach, coach and parent. But we rarely help boys think about what it takes to be on good terms with somebody and how that might differ from one role to another. But they have all these experiences that we can tap into, and we can help them think about it if we bother, if we go there.
How much of your own personal experiences do you use in your coaching or mentorship of young men?
100%. For me, it has to be 100%. I got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly and turn something positive. And I don't mind opening myself up not only to my son, my 13-year-old son, but also to my clients, and let them know either the success that I had, or maybe I've already went down that route and I failed, and I don't want to see you do the same thing. And I just kind of just coach them and be very honest and open. And it's funny what Andrew just said. I guess honesty, respect, teaching these kids, even through the gym sessions, I try to teach all those same traits, just basically life lessons. I want the kids to be better kids when they leave my session, whether it be teaching them how to respect their coach, teach them how to respect themselves, and a good eye contact when speaking with adults, and just some things that I guess aren't being taught in the home. And if they are being taught in the home, I just kind of want to support whatever the parent has already done.
Andrew?
You know, my clients certainly get the benefit of my experience. They hear some of the stories from my life, but not a whole lot. You know, as a therapist, there needs to be some of that separation. And I won't say that I had the easiest upbringing. My mom was divorced twice in the mid-'70s here in the U.S. Oh, wow. You know, I think she always wanted to be Liz Taylor. It didn't quite work out in a couple of ways there. So, you know, she was a single mom, pink collar, for those of you that remember that term, because, you know, she was a secretary. She finished high school. That was her entire education. She had 3 kids. So not the easiest road financially for us, and my clients hear some of that, but I certainly haven't gone through some of the things that they're going through. So, you know, there are points where I can connect or news stories from my life, but it's not really about me as a therapist, although they certainly get the benefit of some of my experiences, even if they don't hear about them.
Excellent. Ray, I wanted you shared a success story with a young lady. I'd love if you could just share a success story you've had recently with a young male athlete.
He's a young athlete. Will he end up being an athlete when it's all said and done? Who knows? But a kid that just, like I said, every time he came in the gym, head down, shoulders slouched. And now I just saw him the other day because I hadn't actually worked with him. He plays basketball. I hadn't worked with him probably in about a month and a half because the season had started and school was catching up to him. It was just too much. But I saw him in a basketball workout, and he just looks like a new person. Standing up tall, shoulders back, looked me in my eyes when we were talking, and all things that we worked on for the last 2 years. And I think it's just finally, it's starting to happen. And to me, that's a success. Again, just helping this young man enter young adulthood. And so just his whole approach to life, he's that much more confident. And if nothing else, I mean, you may be faster, stronger, but if I can get a kid to be more confident when he's done, then we've won.
That's huge.
Nice. Andrew, could you share a success story of a young male you were dealing with and helping?
Yeah. So I was working with a college-age guy last year, and we were really working on two different issues. One was that he, like a lot of guys in their 20s, was having some erectile problems because he was watching porn for about 2 hours a night. And as you might imagine, he doesn't just watch. But then he also had a lot of issues in the romantic relationship that he was involved in, where he would talk at times with me like, oh, I don't care about this relationship. I'm just going to go, I can go to a party anytime I want and find somebody new. But it was very clear that he was very much in love and attracted to his partner and wanted to be with her for a long time. And so, and one comment would follow the other. He would talk about, oh, I can go get anybody anytime. And he would talk about, but I really want to be with this person. And a lot of that, again, was, he felt like he needed to live up to this image that we put out there that guys just want to get laid. And then he was having a hard time reconciling that with his actual feelings that he was, very much in love with this woman. And things are better. I talked to him a couple weeks ago, and they're doing great as a couple, and he's not watching porn anymore. He had stopped that. It took us about 2 months to get him off the porn, and his body working the way it was designed to work. And from what I hear, they're having all the sex they want, and it's going well.
Excellent.
Well, congrats.
There you go. There you go. Ray, what would you like to say to the parents of young men out there when it comes to taking care of their bodies or making sure they're taking care of their bodies the best they can?
First, just to the parents, I'd say to your boys and your girls, your kids, love them, support them, and give them guidance. And teach them by example. Like, be that person that they want to be. So therefore, I want the parents staying healthy, staying active, eating healthy food, and then I think basically demand that of the kids also, or not even demand, but just expect. And I think once the kids know this is what my parents expect, and you condition them, then over the long run, that's what they'll do.
And in yourself, Andrew, what words would you like to share with the parents out there when it comes to their young men?
I'm going to go in two different directions here. One is that young men need an annual physical, and they need to go to the doctor when they're sick, just the same way that we tend to be much better about that about our daughters than our sons. But guys need that annual physical too, and they need to go to the doctor when they're sick. We should not let them just tough it out. And the other one is to start talking to your kids about dating and sexuality as early as possible. We know that surveys in the U.S. tell us that by the time kids hit 14, 1/3 of boys have voluntarily looked at online porn, and the biggest reason they tell us they're going to online porn is because they want to learn about sex. It's all over the media, all over the radio, all over the music they hear. It's all the sleaze and all the tabloid stuff. It's in all their TV shows. And they're going to look at it online, and they're doing it much earlier than we think. And we need to start talking to them, as early as 8, 9, 10, if not before, about some of the basics about what does it mean to date, about how reproduction happens, at least generically, and then getting more detailed as they get older and into the teenage years. And we need to have that as an ongoing conversation, not a one-time talk.
Great, which is a good conversation piece. I want to ask or have you both discuss in each one of the areas that you specialize in. Ray, if a young male can't come to a person like you, a specialist, a trainer, where is the best information, or where should they go to get the information they need to take care of their bodies properly, in your opinion?
I want to say the internet, but the internet's full of some good information, a lot of bad information. I would have to be either the CDC or the FDA-sponsored websites. The Michelle Obama Let's Move campaign is a good one. The NFL Play 60 is a good campaign for younger adults. Livestrong runs a great site with great workouts and meal plans and everything else. You just don't want to stay on, like, some of the bodybuilding sites are a little too extreme, and I think some of the kids get caught up. We'll have kids, just experimenting with different drugs because, again, I guess they see that's the persona, that's what a man's supposed to look like, and I want to develop like that, and they say if I take this, that's how I'll develop. When really the bottom line is good, nutritious food will get you there, and a lot of hard work. I mean, you can change your body and be whoever you want to be, and you don't need those supplements or those. Nothing wrong with supplements, but you don't need those illegal drugs.
Andrew, if someone can't, or if a young man can't come to get advice from a qualified professional like yourself, same thing. Where would you suggest they get credible information from?
And I'm actually going to go with a standby here. The Planned Parenthood website has a lot of excellent information both for adolescents and adults. They have a lot of videos. The videos are usually 5 to 10 minutes. They're very specific to a topic, so you can, if you're interested in just kind of basics of male physical development through puberty or female physical development, or interested in protection, and how do you, and specifically if you're interested in how to use a condom or what are the options for girls and women, you can find those. There's, again, it's often a 5 to 10 minute video and 1 or 2 web pages. Their information is always medically accurate. It's always presented very neutrally. They talk about values. They talk about religion in there. And they are really the best source online. For parents, I would also suggest Deborah Hafner's 2 books, From Diapers to Dating and Beyond the Big Talk. And they'll help parents kind of start working in some of these conversations prior to puberty, from diapers to dating, and then through adolescence and Beyond the Big Talk. And again, being able to have those conversations in an ongoing fashion.
Good stuff. Well, we are going to fade it out because both these gentlemen have busy schedules. We know Ray has thousands of people he deals with, plus 2 sons, plus another one on the way, and I know that Andrew has a lot of stuff going on personally and also with his profession. So first of all, I'd like to thank both of you for taking time out of your positive, productive schedules to be on the show tonight. And I'd just like to have you both give some parting shots or parting words in regards to some words of encouragement and advice to our audience out there when it comes to men's health. I know we focused tonight on just younger men, but I'd like to know if you guys have some time down the road we can talk to challenges with men, older men, in both the disciplines you deal with.
All right. Well, for all men, as far as eating, let's live by the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, let's eat clean, nutritious, delicious food. The other 20, do whatever you want. If you want the burger, have it. If you want some ice cream, you have it. Again, but 80% of the time, I want you eating clean, healthy food, and I like you to get at least 45 minutes of physical activity 4 to 5 days a week. And physical activity could be anything from playing your favorite sport to getting on the treadmill to going for a run. Anything active, anything want to make sure we're getting the heart rate elevated to keep a nice, healthy heart.
Good stuff. Andrew?
Wow, I like Ray's 80-20 rule there. I guess the big one for me on the physical side is, go to the doctor, learn about your body, take care of your body, kind of echoing some of what Ray said there. And on the dating and sexuality side, don't buy the stereotype and learn about all of yourself and all of the things that you can do emotionally, psychologically, sexually, in relationships and on your own.
Excellent. So before we let both these gentlemen go, they're going to tell us and share with us how they can best be contacted. So Ray, what are some of the best ways people can come in contact with yourself?
You can find me the website, MrShutUpAndTrain.com, and that's also Mr. Shut Up and Train on Instagram, as well as Mr. Shut Up and Train on Facebook, Facebook.com/Mr. Shut Up and Train.
By the way, Ray,
social media.
Where did you get that? How did you come up with that name? I'm very curious how you got that Shut Up and Train. It's money. I love it.
You know what? I just felt like anything to really get the results that we want, we got to stop making excuses. So people think it's all about not talking while you're in the gym. I have the best conversation while you're in the gym. Shut up and train just basically means apply it to any facet of your life. If you want something, make no excuses, shut up and make it happen. Get out there, and like Nike said, just do it.
Good stuff. Andrew, what's the best way people can get in touch with you? Some of the best ways.
The two easiest ones are my webpage, which is just andrewsmiler.com. There's a contact page on there, and you can see all of the interesting and wonderful things that I do. And you can also find me on Twitter at Andrew Smiler.
Excellent. Well, Ray and Andrew, again, we'd like to thank you. We'd like to thank the audience for watching and participating. And a big shout out to Marie Roker-Jones, who is the producer and my normal co-host, a regular co-host on the show. And this is Man That You Want to Be, our regular Google Hangout. And we're just focusing on making men better. So catch us next month. As always, we like to say, God bless, peace, well, keep the faith. If you want to touch base with me, you can go to my site and my show, The Dr. Vibe Show. That's THDRVIBESHOW.com. And also, you can catch me on the Good Men Project. I have a number of shows on there, and I'm also the host of the monthly Google Hangouts on the Good Men Project. Well, thanks very much for watching, and have a great time.
Thank you.
Make 2014 an outstanding year. Take care, and good night.
Best year ever. Bye now.
Thank you. Take care. Nice meeting you, Ray.